Hi there and welcome to the solar update for April 2023. So it's been a great month really. I love it when the clocks change and we get into springtime. The days are now longer. We're generating more solar a lot earlier in the morning and a lot later in the evening, so we don't have to dip into the battery until kind of 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening now, which is really good. So let's have a look and see what April's given us. But before we get into the stats, let's just remind ourselves of my solar panel system. So 14 Jinko 390 watt panels, totaling 5.4 kilowatts, 10 on the south and 4 on the east, and a Solar Edge 4 kilowatt inverter. So that's the solar side. On the battery side, we've got the 3 kilowatt AC inverter and the 8 kilowatt Gen 1 Give Energy battery. And then of course I've got a few extra bits and bobs such as the My Energy Eddy heating the hot water, the Harvey and the Hub, and the Hypervolt EV charger. So the month of April 2023, this is data supplied by the Solar Edge dashboard. And what a month it was. Certainly a lot better. I mean, obviously sun's out longer days. We should be getting a lot higher system production now. So for the month in total, it was actually 679 kilowatt hours. We'll have a look at that in a moment compared to last year and to other months. But the month itself was pretty good. Obviously, we started off really badly on the 1st of April there. Look, 6 kilowatt hours. But after that, it kind of shot up, didn't it, really? Several days over 25 kilowatt hours. The third worst day was 15. The second worst day was 8 kilowatt hours towards the end of the month. So it certainly has made a difference with this, the clock's changing. There wasn't really a day, well, most of the days were over 15 kilowatt hours, to be honest, which is pretty good. So what does the average look like? Over the month, 679 divided by 30 gives us an average of 22.63 kilowatt hours per day. So that's quite a nice number. Best day of the month, well, it looks like the 4th of April, 34 kilowatt hours. And I've also told you the worst there, 6 kilowatt hours on the 1st of April. So let's compare that to last year's. So if you've watched this channel before, you know that that blue line is 2022 last year. That was the first week when I had my panels installed. So that wasn't a full month in March last year. But you can see January, February, March, and then April, we had a bit of a spike there. It didn't go in a flat line. It does sort of go really high for the next kind of 5 months. But as you can see there in April, this year in green in 2023 was not as good as last year in 2022. The difference this year, well, this year 679, as I've already said, and 730 last year. So, that is 50 kilowatt hours less this year. That's quite a high number. I mean, that is kind of nearly 2 days of extra kilowatt hours last year. But never mind, we'll see what is happening with May next month. Hopefully we might get as high as May last year or even higher. Be interesting to see throughout the year if every month is slightly worse than last year, but we'll have to wait and see. So how did we use this lovely solar? Well, we're in the Hypervolt dashboard online here for the EV charger, and you can see in April that we used less of the Hypervolt. There's one good reason for that. We went on holiday for a week, so that took kind of a quarter of that out. Though in April we used 220 kilowatt hours into the cars, but unfortunately the Hypervolt can't tell us how much of that was imported or used from solar and how much was used on Octopus Go overnight. Although, as you can see, it was well down from the 429 that we used in March that we put into the cars. So only 220 kilowatt hours went into the cars in April. So we also used a fair bit of solar power in the eddy now for heating the hot water in the immersion tank. So this month we used 71.1 kilowatt hours. or the eddy did, heating the hot water. So traditionally, normally in April, we turn off the gas boiler and just heat the hot water only. So no heating in the house, and just let the solar heat the hot water. Although April was very chilly still. And you can probably tell from here that we started using the eddy during the beginning of the month. And you can see there was no use for that week. That's when we went away for a week. And then when we came back, we all went and got turned on again. And we were starting to use a lot more heavily use on the eddy. Although we did turn the gas boiler back on a little bit for the last few days of April, because it was just so cold. Some northerly winds coming down. And it just, the house was cold, so we needed to heat it up again. So that's when the boiler took over a little bit towards the end of the month and heated the hot water for us. But we got the eddy to kind of top it up for us as well. Although going forward in sort of May onwards, the boiler's gone off again, and we'll just be using the eddy every day to heat the hot water. Traditionally, from a kind of an empty tank, I would say, if it's a big tank, it's a 200 odd litre tank, a big tall one, that would kind of take about 6, 7, 8 kilowatt hours to actually fully heat up. Although that's quite rare unless my teenage son's had a really long shower. That may happen. Although for just two of us, for two normal adults, it would kind of only normally take, I don't know, 3 or 4 kilowatt hours to probably kind of heat up, because our showers would not be kind of longer than, say, 5 minutes each. So let's have a look at how much electricity I exported. This is in the Octopus Energy dashboard now. So if I hover over April, you can see we exported 152 kilowatt hours. Now that was a lot higher than we'd normally export, and I say that's really because we went away for a week, turned off the eddy, so we didn't heat any hot water, and we just had the house just running as it would normally, sort of silently running, and most of the energy was exported. But we'll have a look at that now when we have a look at the actual month. So this was the month of April for the export. As you can see here, it was quite low for the beginning of April, and then it ramped up. Our biggest day there was 19 kilowatt hours we exported, and 16, that was the week we went away. And then you can see when we came back, it just went back to kind of normal low values of export, because I like to try and use all I can. I don't really like to export too much at all, especially when you're only getting 4p on Octopus Go for export. We're not one of you lucky people that are on Flux that are getting paid a lot more money for it, because it just doesn't work out for us. Having two EVs, we're better off on Go at the moment, although I know also some of you are trying out Flux in the summer and Go in the winter, which could be the best of both worlds. So on average, on a normal day, we'd kind of only export probably 1 or 2 kilowatt hours, to be honest, during the day, and not these high numbers in the middle. So how much electricity did we use in total? So that's on Octopus Go overnight and on normal day rate. Well, if I hover over April here, it tells us that I used 143.7 kilowatt hours in total, and we'll break that down when we come to look at the figures to see how much I used on Go and how much I used on the day rate, although most of it will be overnight. A lot lower than what we've previously used. Obviously in March they used 500, so we're starting to charge the battery less overnight now, as we don't need to, because it's filling up itself during the day. And also we're kind of probably charging the car a little bit less in April, obviously because we went on holiday as well. So how does that look throughout the month of April? Well, pretty obvious. Again, some higher values at the beginning of the month for use. The week we were away, flat, and then normal sort of use towards the end of the month. Well, there was still some car charging going on there, and possibly a certain percentage of battery charging as well, just to keep it at a certain rate overnight. If I thought it was going to be a bit of a rubbish day the next day, then I'd kind of give the battery, I don't know, 50%, keep it to 50% overnight or something like that. Although that percentage is getting lower and lower as we now sort of start May. I just wanted to show you this. This is the Give Energy cloud dashboard, and this is how much solar or grid is going to the battery. So we got our battery in June 2022, a few months after the panels were installed. So you can see here that in June, most of the battery was being filled up by solar in the yellow and a tiny bit from the grid. And then as we move through to July, it's nearly the same, but nearly full, all coming from solar. And then as you move into August, you can see that the red takes over a little bit. And then in September, a little bit more. And then in October, a little bit more, as we're getting less and less solar going into the battery. And then in November, a big sweep round. So a lot of the batteries being populated from the grid. And then as you move through into December, a little bit more. And then as you come into January again, we're sort of moving the other way. And then February, and then March is very similar. And then, April, we're back up to date now, all the way around again. Obviously that week away sort of really helped that pie chart. But it's sort of, you can see how much battery is being filled by solar then as you come into the kind of spring and summer months. So one thing I like to measure every month is how much the battery is costing me when it runs out between 8 p.m. and 12:30 in the morning, when the cheap go rate starts again and I get to charge the battery on cheap rate. So this month, or the month of April, it was really nothing at all. I did have a look at the data, and this is what it came out with: 1.39 kilowatt hours, which equaled 57 pence. But I don't believe that the battery ran out at all in April. I believe that figure of 1.39 has really come from just the ramping up and ramping down of the battery between 8 and 12:30. So yeah, if there was a little bit, it was very minimal, but I don't think the battery fell short at all in April. So over these sort of winter months, really, it's not really added up to much at all, this shortfall. And at the moment, it doesn't seem like it's worth me buying another battery. I'll probably just stick with a single 8 kilowatt hour battery, unless, the price falls a lot more, or I kind of buy something that's more electrically intensive. So April figures as billed by Octopus Energy. So the grid import by day turned out to be 8.67 kilowatt hours at 40 pence, which equaled £3.48 for the month. So that would be mainly where the battery is kind of ramping up and ramping down, and you use kind of a little bit of electricity in between. And then at night time on Octopus Go, we used 135 kilowatt hours at 7.5 pence a kilowatt hour at the moment. My contract for that runs out in July this year, and Octopus Go has gone a little bit cheaper actually. It has dropped from something like 12 pence per kilowatt hour to now 9 pence per kilowatt hour. So it'll be interesting to see if that drops even further when it comes to July and I have to renew. So for April we used £10, or spent £10 and 13 pence on Octopus Go overnight, charging the battery and the car. We exported 152 kilowatt hours at 4.1 pence, which equaled £6 and 24 pence. So the electrical spend added up to £13 and 61, and we subtract the £6.24 we exported, gives us a total of £7 and 37 pence for the whole month, not including standing charge. And so that was running the house and sort of running the hot water and the charging the EV overnight as well. So now onto the gas. I usually include the gas in my results as well. So the 1st of April to the 1st of May, 30 days, we used 447 kilowatt hours of gas at the 10.31 pence per kilowatt hour gas rate, which is still under the government price guarantee scheme, and that came out to £46 and 16 pence. So altogether, with the gas being 46.16 and the electric being 7.37, we just have a quick look at the standing charges. So the gas is 26 pence a day times 30 days gives us £8, and the electric is 37 pence a day times by 30 days gives us £11 and 30 pence. So if we take the electric total as 737 plus the 1130, gives us 1867 for the electric for the month, including the standing charge. And the gas was 46.16 plus the £8 standing charge, works out to 54.21. So if we add those two together, we get £72.88 for the whole month of April for the gas and the electric. Right, so that was April 2023. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like and don't forget to leave us a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, of course, and I'll see you soon.